Hello.
Howdy, howdy,
Hello.
howdy.
How's it going?
All good.
A little burned out on a lot of games, actually.
You jump around a lot. I have a tendency to like hyper focus on one until I burn it out, and then I hyper focus on another, and so on.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going through.
Oh, so this isn't your normal. This is because you've
Yeah, I burned
yeah,
out. I played too much of each, and now I'm just kind of hopping around to whatever floats my boat for the moment.
makes sense.
I lost all interest in Baldur's Gate, though. Like, I haven't played it since the update.
It makes sense, and it's a game that doesn't have as much replay value as other games. It's very linear.
Yeah, because everything's always the same, unless, I
Yep.
mean, you take different, like,
Yeah,
evil
there's
paths or
little
whatever.
differences, but it's like role play differences. It's not
Hmm.
actual like combat differences or not much anyway.
Yeah, so the drug dealing game's fun. My son and I have been playing that together, so I try not to play it too much. So I have still the interest to play it when he wants to play.
That's cool. I'm gonna keep this little panel thing up in case anyone else jumps in for the first 15 minutes or so.
Well, that's so Andy can read it about every 5 minutes to remember.
Here's
You're
some.
very static.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. I hear some static going on.
That might be me.
It
Kind of
was,
feeling.
but you seem fine now.
Oh, okay. I was moving
The
the phone
volume's very
around, so it
low.
might have been me.
Yeah, volume's a little bit low, but it's so far it seems better than the usual.
Oh, I just bought a cheap mic with a earphone thingy, and all right, good. That might be it.
Maybe.
Probably pull up settings. Maybe you can go in there and turn up the. Mine's set to automatically adjust mic volume.
I think I can do that, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh,
I usually test mine in the back stage, whatever, first. I'll mute it and then hello, 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 kind of do things, do the little bar go up and down, and then
I've
you're
Mine
fine.
doesn't.
got him set to max volume, so maybe that will do something.
All right, I've set mine to max. That's what that is.
Yeah, now you're kind of about the same as us, I think, or at least close. That works. So I think you said that you had something that you wanted to get into today, Rash. Do you still want to? I don't even know what it was.
He's gone.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, he just vanished like last second there.
Oh, I've been having a bunch of freaking massive issues with Baldur's Gate anyway. Like there's this weird bug to where when audio happens, it makes like a loud static sound, like random, like a rrr, and then
Um, are you
go
playing on Vulcan or are you playing on DirectX
direct
11? What?
X. Is
I've been
Vulcan
playing
better?
on Vulcan. Yeah, I think it's more optimized.
Is it better
And
for
also,
mods? Because I think mods might be causing my problems.
I mean, it's possible. I always check as soon as I'm having issues. I always make sure to go in and I gotta think how to do this. Go into like program, like you right click on the game in your Steam library, and then bring properties. Yeah, you go into properties, and then you go to install files, and then verify integrity of game files. So
Hmm.
it will scan through all the game files to make sure you have all the correct game files, and they're there. And if you're missing any or anything got corrupted, it will replace them.
Awesome. I'll give that a shot.
Because I know using mods, you can get conflicts, and it can
Yes, it's
fuck shit up.
common.
So yeah, and then you just go back and kind of reset the files to the default, kind of.
That might work. Also, the typical mod manager, the default one anyway, for Baldur's Gate 3 isn't that good. You can't actually like put things below or above the load
Yeah, no
order,
order.
and that's important. Like that causes a lot of issues. So
Yeah, on Starfield, when I played that, I had a bunch of Star Wars mods. I was really getting into it, really converting the whole game basically into a Star Wars game that you could just go wherever. But I started finding conflicts between certain ones, like the one that turned all the guns into like Star Wars guns. I had to get rid of that, but then I had to make sure I worked out a certain order where this one loads first, and then this one loads, so that way it doesn't affect the assets in the first one. And
Yep.
then you have to have key ones that are actually the other ones are built off of that system, where you need those to basically even run the other mods.
Yep. So I'm a huge mod fan, but it's so annoying because it's such a pain in the ass. If you use a lot like I do, it's a pain in the ass to find out what's causing problems.
Yeah, that's one of those you got to just add one at a time, load the game up, and keep
Mhm.
adding them until you find that.
I just don't want to do it, so I'm like just
Yeah.
not playing right now.
If you see my 1,500 hours on RimWorld, that game is one where you put like you can have like 300 mods in there in one game.
Damn.
And I would do like full like medieval conversions where I convert everything, add all dragons, magic, you name it. Just, you get one that's all out of date. Like as soon as something would update and the others wouldn't, it just there's everything else fucking whack.
Yeah, it's freaking annoying. Are you back, Rash?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So
You got the backrash?
I don't remember what it was about, but I think you said you wanted to discuss something today, Rash.
Oh, right. Actually, now that I think about it, you know how like I smoked a bit too much weed when I was younger, and I sort of get forgetful now.
Yeah,
I think I might have brought it up before, and we've actually had this discussion before. Either that, or I get a ton of deja vu.
maybe. But
Yeah.
either way, bring it up, and well, I have the worst memory ever, but couldn't hurt
Yeah.
anything.
And yeah, okay. You've got something that it's scientifically backed up. I've seen you bring up the science on it. I mean, I don't like it, but it is a fact, as far as I can tell. And it's
Mhm.
the thing about conservatives having a different brain structure
Uh-huh. Well,
and
to be
something
fair,
different.
yeah, well, to be fair, that's true of both. Most of our political shit we like to believe, and when I say we, I mean everybody, big picture, we like to believe
Yeah.
everything is our personal choice. The truth of the
Right.
matter,
Hardwired.
most of it is hardwired. Most of it is because you can give someone with no information on their political lean a big five personality test, and you can almost like 95% accuracy tell exactly where they land on a political spectrum.
Yep, I've
It's
Right.
seen many studies about this. Even I put the brain test thing in there where I'm
Mhm.
actually the golden brain where I use both sides equally.
That's crazy. I know. I'm pretty sure I don't.
Yeah.
Well, see,
But
that's
Gad,
where
you're a bit weird.
yeah, well, that's it. I'm very adaptable, so I can get into most anything. So like left brain people are more all about nonfiction and very factual, logical thinking like that. I can do that, but then on the right, it's more the creative thinking, the more fiction based, illogical things like conspiracy theories and all that shit. I can entertain that as well. And I'm big into like fiction as well.
Right. Well, it's one thing. So to me, what matters is what you consider true. So I'm capable of entertaining very complex imaginary shit. In fact, I love it. I love like fiction and stuff, but I don't consider it real. Is the point here? Like
Exactly.
the
Yes,
issue
I still look
is
at a logical base of the left brain.
right. So yeah, I don't understand a whole lot about this. This is sort of in my wheelhouse, but I haven't really done any research on left brain, right brain. Really, I don't know much about it.
But there is that part, the enlarged what, dula oblongata or whatever that.
Amygdala.
Yeah, that's it. The
Yeah.
one, the fight flight reflex, and that's
Yes.
what's larger. It tends to be in right wing people, and that's why they tend to be targeted with fear or things that get them
Well,
all pumped up.
absolutely, but it explains not just why like propaganda is used to fearmonger for them. It explains almost every position they hold on almost any issue.
Well, my thing is, if physically something there, or chemically something there in their brain, is it
Mhm.
genetic? Like, if your parents are conservative, without and you don't get the conservative influence growing up, are you still more likely to grow up conservative?
So I would say that it's a predisposition, not a guarantee, because you can't completely knock out nurture.
Right.
Most people tend to lean higher on nurture. I am weird that I think a vast majority of us and everything we do is actually nature, but
Right.
it's still a combination. It's still both.
Still a
Odyssey,
combination.
Odyssey says that left brain, right brain has been debunked. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
I had teachers doing the test on me when I was in school, and then I just did the thing again. It seems like, I mean, the same exact, test has been used for decades now.
I wanted to say that I think this you know, we were talking about how you can entertain different thoughts and all that, and take them to their logical conclusion, which sometimes obviously isn't logical, but that depends on what it is.
Well,
But
you have to
I was just
deduce
thinking,
everything down.
there's there's also a study that says there might be parts of the brain that make somebody more religious or more likely to be atheist. So
Really?
I'm just wondering, yeah, I right after you did your one about showed your studies about the conservative brain thing, a video popped up to me about, you know, oh, they found the God part of your brain or something like that, and so I watched
Oh,
that.
right,
And,
right. I've looked into
yeah,
the God part, but I didn't know about the atheist part. Like, is
I
there a
mean,
link?
but there's apparently a physical difference, but they're not the same parts of the brain. So it's not like if you have this thing, you're religious, and if you don't have this thing, you're atheist. It's in fact, if you have a different thing, you're atheist.
If we could do like a double-blind study where you
Religious,
just take
or more like,
people and just one that gets a lot of
we're gonna
religious
dissect our
propaganda.
brains.
No, just have one go through like a lot of
Uh,
religious propaganda and see if they stay with it or whatever, and then another one with zero and see if they get, intrigued by religion later on. I think it has
yeah,
a lot to do
okay,
with
but anyway, you
propaganda
might not,
because
you
children are
guys might not
forced
like
into
this.
religion.
I do believe so. So there's some link. The God gene has been mostly debunked. It's not the way they try to push it. They push it like this gene is responsible for religious belief. That's not true. That's not how it works.
And we got the God
Okay, I'm
particle.
not sure that it's
That
the
gives all
gene, but they
things
say
mass.
it's a part of the brain. So I
Yes.
figured
Now,
it might be genetic if it, you know.
well, it's difficult to deal with these things. In fact, most of the time when it comes to genetics versus nurture, we deal with twin studies in order to kind of flesh this out.
Right.
Sounds eugenics.
Oh.
I
Hitler was big in the
don't know what we've
He did
done
a
on
lot of
this one.
testing on them.
Yeah, and they're important though. Like it's one of the only ways we have to differentiate really.
Well, yeah, identical twins, because then you can each apply different, things to each twin, and then get whatever results, because it's identical
Yeah,
DNA.
ones that were separated at birth and all that.
Yep. Those are very helpful. Hell, if I was one of those, I could make so much money for nothing.
With that, we'd have to basically just find like a donor set and then clone them, and then use the clones for experiments, and then that's the only way I could see where it'd be any way kind of ethical.
Right.
That does not sound ethical at all.
Well, it's better than
evil scientist thing, man.
Well, science is one of those things where it's like I don't see it as pure evil. Yes, it's sort of immoral in a way, but the question is what we learn and how it can help humanity going forward. Is it worth the trade-off? And I'm not trying to answer that question. I'm saying that's the question to ask.
Like, look at the 1700s when people were like stealing bodies out of graves just so they could autopsy them. Like Ben Franklin and all these people, they were all just like grave robbing just so they could autopsy bodies to learn anatomy. That's how we learn like.
Now, personally, I mean, I don't consider that immoral because I don't believe the body is anything but a husk when you die. Like we learn so much. And by the way, this goes back into like the Nazis, for example. We typically consider them the most evil people in the world, and I don't disagree. But you can't discount what they've done for medicine and science in their really fucked up experiments. We learned a lot I'm just being honest. Like, I'm
And a
not
great
saying
Even
it's
painters
example,
have done it. Even
a great
painters have
example of
gone to the mall to
authoritarianism.
get bodies to draw and paint. And Da Vinci, I think, took people apart just to see
Mhm.
how they work. So, I mean, it's been done for a long time.
right.
Sorry, go on.
I mean, human curiosity. I mean, the more you do something like, yeah, the first time they'd be all grossed out by an autopsy, but by the 10th or, the 100th, it's nothing. It becomes desensitized.
That's another danger, and it kind of goes back into like being a doctor. Like a typical
Mhm.
person can't do that sort of thing, but like a doctor does
Psychopath.
it kind of, yeah. It's the nurture of psychopathy almost. It's like you can be trained or conditioned to lose empathy and to lose any give a shit about people. And
Remorse. Yeah.
yeah,
That's what the
it's
army does. The
it's
military does that,
interesting.
doesn't it?
The
Well,
what?
The
war.
military.
Yes, that's actually a good example of it. But I think oftentimes your average soldier doesn't completely lose empathy. They bury it.
Mm,
And that's why they
they
have
bury it.
they have so many mental issues, and like post traumatic stress syndrome is so common, even among those that are like they stay behind a desk and like they control drones. We have research to
Uh,
show that they have comparable PTSD than those that are in the field. It's interesting.
Well, this is why the military actually invests so much into these Call of Duty games and stuff like that. These first-person shooter games.
Mhm.
Most of those were financially backed by military to
I
get
didn't know
young men
that.
interested into wanting to go to war. It gets these boys all hyped up. Yeah, I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter. I want to go do this in real life, and then they go join the military.
Makes sense.
And then they
I didn't
also
know that.
use video games in the military now to actually train people, like VR and shit.
I feel like watching that Kurt Russell movie again, Soldier, where they train
Even
from babies to be soldiers. And
Universal
he still
Soldier.
got PTSD.
I
It's a
like
good
that
Universal
movie.
movie.
Soldiers. It was all right. I didn't get into those too big back then. There's a lot of action films in that era.
I think my
Yeah.
favorite for Kurt Russell would be one of the Escape from LA or Escape from New York.
For
Snake
Oh
me,
Plissken.
yeah.
He's
for
so
me,
awesome.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Big Trouble Little China. I love that movie. I watched the hell out of it.
I like it too. That one's got more comedic like value in it. It's
Well,
it's
Yeah.
it's
and
kind of a combination.
it's what
Yeah.
inspired Mortal Kombat, the game, as well.
No way.
Yep, that's where he got the inspiration to do it. He got Raiden. Shang Tsung's the old guy that steals souls. Then he used for Johnny Cage, that's Jean-Claude Van Damme. For Liu Kang, that's Bruce Lee.
Good grief. Art imitating art or something, isn't it?
In a way, yeah.
So is that specifically what you wanted to get into, Rash, about the genetic element or the
Yeah, yes, and yeah, I had one more little bit about that. I'm just saying, if it is somehow genetic, then it does make sense that a lot more people are religious than are atheists, is because we're passing it down. That at
Yeah,
least the
it's
tendency to
traditional.
want to be religious.
Yeah,
they're
it's
they're
tradition highly.
so tradition would be more of the nurture aspect and what I would call indoctrination. You may not like that word, but
Oh, that's fine.
so there's that aspect, and I don't. We're still learning about the nature aspect. I don't know how much like lean there is biologically. I'm not
Mm,
sure. It's really interesting though, and I think it's important, especially if there's also a biological element to atheism. So my belief, this is not a fact, my belief is that atheism is simply like a logical conclusion of not believing in something that from my perspective we don't have
you
evidence
can't prove.
for.
Yeah, there's no
Yes.
evidence. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. But if there
Mm.
is a biological element, that's very interesting and it could open
Well,
the window for a lot of stuff.
I could be kind of that example. So from birth till 11 years old, every Sunday I went to church with my grandmother religiously. Like I did the Christmas plays, recited the verses. Like they would have me remember a verse every Sunday. They repeat the next Sunday, shit like
Were your
that.
parents
Like
religious?
no, but my grandmother was. I lived with my grandmother, and my
Okay,
grandfather.
right. You were raised by your grandma. Okay,
My
you were indoctrinated to be religious, but you ended up not being religious.
very like my uncle
Okay.
was. He's now a deacon at his church. Like he was always like the youth minister. Like and he like I have a family that was that. That's all it was. In the car, it was gospel music. It played, and
Oh,
to me,
Jesus, take the wheel.
it was just a critical thinking thing. I just critically thought my way out of religion,
Yeah.
and then
So
I don't know.
the
I don't know
more
if all religious people have doubts at some point in their life, but I went through a stage thinking, oh, maybe God doesn't exist, but I just came back to it somehow. And it's not to do with the indoctrination, because I mean, I was away from religious society for a long time. I just somehow came back to it. I don't know.
you like the community of it. That's what a lot of people actually stay in religion is just for that community and not wanting to be ostracized from the community.
Dude, I hide away in the jungle. I mean, there's mosques all over here. I don't go to any of them because
Exactly. You don't get much
they're
community. So
it's
that is your
political.
bit. You when you do go, it's like you get that kind of seeing people that you haven't seen for a while, so you get the dopamine rush and such.
Uh, I only do that a couple of times a year anyway. It's like, yeah, after Ramadan they have that well, we call it Hari
I,
Raya, and then
I
there's
have no
Christmas where you
issues
see the
with
family.
Islam. You guys do a lot of things that I think the West should actually adopt things like fasting and not just
Hmm.
religiously fasting, but just to curb obesity and such. It's such an improvement. It's don't eat.
there's a lot of things that are like correlations of like common practices of religious people that we've found science to back up as really beneficial. For example,
Right.
fasting. There's tons of fucking insane benefits of fasting. In like intellectual, it like it almost like resets your brain. It does all sorts of great things for your body.
Yeah,
And
like well, it triggers a ketosis, which is the liver creating an enzyme which helps you think faster. You act, you're more responsive to everything. It's more to so like if you're starving in nature, basically, it's there to get you to make sure you get food.
mhm.
Well,
So it
the
heightens
thing
all your
about the
senses.
Muslim one, the Muslim 5 times praying thing, it's not just the praying, you're moving as well. Basically, you're making sure 5 times a day that you can touch your toes, you can bend over.
Well,
You know,
well,
if you're
that's more of
some
an
fat guy who sits in
indoctrination
front of the
thing.
TV all the time and can't even reach his toes anymore, well, I mean,
Making
the Muslim
people
guy is going to
pray
be
five
fitter.
times a day. Well, I mean, if you just work construction, you're gonna be even more fit.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you are forced. You're not able to. If you're going to be a Muslim, you're not allowed to be just sitting there until you can't even touch your toes anymore. I'm
Well,
just saying
things
it's
like
something. Yeah.
not eating pork. Like, do you ever look up the diseases and the illnesses you can get from pork just being
Hmm.
undercooked? It's a lot.
Oh,
That's
I
why
thought
I
it was just
think,
work.
and bringing up prayer as well. So my belief, I've probably went over it before, is that prayer is nothing more than a an altered state of consciousness, which is meditation. And we have
Meditate.
insane amounts of evidence of the benefits of meditation. So these things kind of line up. And like you brought up the pork deal and everything. So obviously, I don't think religion is real from a factual standpoint. But for the masses, there's a lot of little things in there that are benefits that like most people honestly don't really think for themselves. And I guess it provides a sort of structure and it's beneficial in numerous ways. So the question is, I obviously think that atheism's a better path, but can't, and a lot of religious people have brought this very valid point up. Is there a way to just pluck it away and get rid of religion without leaving a massive void? And I'm not sure that there is. We've
Well,
tried, like, go ahead.
if you look at current trends now, like how you're saying, you think atheist is actually the preferred, but I think none where we don't even think of religion as even a feasible thing. It's more like a mythology. We say like a Zeus and Thor and Odin. It just
Right.
becomes one of those things that we teach pre-man's ideas of how the world worked, but it's not something we teach as factual or anything like that.
Mhm.
And everybody just becomes like a non-believer, and it's just religion fades away completely.
I think you could replace religion, and you could have structures in place or cultural structures in place where you do something like
You said voodoo.
meditation, and you do something that's somewhat physically active, and it's just part of the culture
Well,
without religion. I'm
we
sure
are
you can
kind
do
of
that.
doing that. So if you look through like the last 2,000 years roughly, or even longer, the church or religion is what controlled knowledge. Knowledge
Mhm.
up until recently was kept secret. Like a blacksmith didn't tell anybody how he did anything because he learned that from his master, and then he passes that on to his apprentice. Knowledge was
Mm.
regarded as like the most secretive things. Like you just didn't tell nobody secrets. The royalty, the royal family, they were highly educated in like Oxford and all these top universities, which were only for the rich. Knowledge was for the wealthy. Most of your populace had no education whatsoever. So it was very easy to control them with things like a religion because they were
Uh,
ignorant of most things.
I
I'm
could
pretty
see
sure for
that.
a while if you're a nobility, you were sent to the church to get some kind of education.
That goes all the way back to Rome. I mean, even Rome would
Yeah.
train their sons and have them go to, military and then also academies and things like that.
Didn't
Hello,
the Greeks
Melody.
do something too?
Hey y'all, what's up?
Mm.
Hello, Melody.
Hey
You
guys.
pops well, you pop up here with a dead child for an Abby.
I know. I just wanted to be funny.
Is
that's
she
Believe
that's
you,
the
talking?
dead
Melody.
child that I dug up.
I
How,
can't
how
believe you,
religious
Melody.
is that?
That's sacrilegious.
I know. Yeah, and you know what is actually funny about that is the guy that was over this. So in archaeology, whenever I was in Syria, he was actually like a
Can
pastor, and
can
I
you
said
guys
his
hear
is
Melody?
what?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear. I can see the thing vibrating, but I can't hear anything from her. It's weird.
At all?
You
Wow.
At
can't
all,
hear
nothing.
me?
It's almost like being blocked,
That's
audibly.
weird.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me, Trobs?
Yes. Can you hear her, Gad?
I can hear loud and clear.
Okay.
That's strange.
Oh
That
shit,
is
maybe it's
weird.
just me, but I don't know. I can't hear her at all.
I don't understand why I would do that for just one person and only
Yeah, that
for
is
you.
strange.
I do get blocked a lot, so that might be something to do with it.
I
No,
don't know.
I don't have you blocked, Rash.
I don't think you can block like through audio
No.
on
Wait,
StreamYard. Not that I'm
so
aware of.
Melody, you can hear Rash.
Yeah, I
Can
can
she hear
hear
me?
Rash. And I've never blocked Rash.
So you can hear him, but he can't hear you. So that's a him thing.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
really
Yeah.
weird.
Okay.
Rash, do you have the in StreamYard the list of people underneath that shows you who's in here, or is that only
Um,
me?
I can
That's
see it
you.
on this. I can see it on the screen. I can see the 4 round circly things that says
Yeah,
who's
but
here.
nothing below that.
Oh, don't know.
So
Every
I
time I try
Okay.
and-
okay, it's probably just me then. I didn't know. So maybe I thought that you had the settings to where you have her volume all the way down or
I can't
something.
see a list of people anywhere, and I'm scared to touch anything because I leave the chat every time I play with the settings.
Understandable.
Uh,
Oh, you can't. I wonder. So he
oh
can't
well,
see the
if she
list of
says anything
people?
interesting, let me know.
So you can, Melody, you can see not the people on the screen, not the 4 circles, but below the list that there should be like 4 rectangles. At least that's what I see.
Nope.
I can't see four rect. I mean, I can see like the
Okay.
circles,
That
but
means that only I have that, which means I can't really do what I was going to suggest.
but
On
I've
mine,
never been able to do that, Trobs.
I know. So, well, I don't know that because I only see what I know here because I'm usually the host. I
Right.
didn't know that other people couldn't see that. So only I get
Okay.
to see
The
that.
mostest.
So I've checked and your volume is fine. So I don't know what's going on, but I can't think of anything that would be a fix.
I would just say back out to the lobby or whatever, and then pop back in. See if that just
Maybe.
Okay,
Just-
okay. Let me shut it down, and then I'll
Rash.
pop back in.
You want me to do
No, I mean
that?
Rash. Yeah, Rash. You do that. Pop back to the
Alright,
back
alright.
and then back in.
Audie. Okay, here, I'm gonna try it too.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
You think I'm fine?
It
Okay.
was his
It can't be you. It has to be him because he's the only one that had that.
Yeah, that is strange.
So I'm just saying if he maybe reconnects, so can reestablish connections or whatever.
Well,
Maybe.
hey, at least he doesn't have that crackling noise like he normally does.
It started at first. It did.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's kind of off and on, but his new setup seems to be at least better than it was before. I just turned his volume up, and
Well, you have to remember too, us three are within like a couple thousand miles of each other. He's on the other side of the ocean. Like that, it got to go through sea cables and up over land, and then through another sea cable till it
Yeah.
gets to us.
that's
Yeah,
true.
I know. He's in the jungle.
I mean, there could be a shark right down there right now, just like gnawing away on a cable. It just causes it to go haywire.
You're absolutely correct. I wouldn't put it past it. Okay, there he is. Maybe it'll help now.
I can hear you now, Melody. Hi.
There
Oh,
we go.
you can? Okay, awesome. Hello, Ross.
Okay, obviously it was me.
It's always
Well, at least that fixed it. That's awesome.
you. Okay, good.
It's just like anything. Just turn it off, turn it back on again, and it usually fixes it.
See, I've got such an analytical mind. I overthink shit. I'm like trying to figure out like fucking scientific fucking formulas and shit when it's so simple. All you gotta do is
I
like
start
leave
basic.
and come back.
Yep, you
Yeah.
gotta start at the basic, at the most basic thing, and then because that's what like I knew she could hear Rash, but he couldn't hear her. So right, like identified that he was the issue.
Yeah,
That is very down to earth.
I've finally been the same way because I used to be dumb and it's usually like an easy fix. You just turn something off and on,
Overcomplicate it.
and then it fixes it. And I've been like on with like IT people for like 25 minutes because I'm like, no, it doesn't. And they're, did you try an off and on button? I said no, or actually no. I'd been trying stuff just myself. And it didn't work. And so I called IT and then they suggested that first thing. And I said, no, I did not try that. And then I did. And I felt so stupid because it worked straight up.
That always happens to me. My brain tends to go to complicated first when most of the time it seems like the simplest answer is the best.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens with me too. And I get so freaking frustrated too. I get so pissy and then I just want to start throwing shit.
It's like the other day.
I
did
heard
an
there's a
update on my
mechanical
computer.
reason why hitting something makes it work sometimes.
Usually
Really?
it fixes things for me.
Yeah, apparently there's some physical engineering thing where if you hit it, there's a good chance that it will work, and that's why people hit things to make it work.
I do
Interesting.
that with TVs a lot. Like usually I just give it a good tap and boop, works again.
Mm.
Like, hey.
So simple but so effective.
Well,
I won't do
mine
that
is
to my
actually
computer.
weird in that so I have to use my phone in order to like talk and hear everybody. Well, I can hear people and I can talk like using my laptop, but it's an echo, and so it's really annoying. So I have to use my phone in order to talk on it, but then I use my laptop. I use my laptop actually. It's easier. It's better this way because I can look at side chat, but it's really weird that I can't use my laptop to
Get a
talk to
headset and
people.
just plug it in.
Well, it won't do anything but echo because I mean it would be
My
easier.
thing has my headset actually has a thing on there, so I could actually crank the thing up, and then I can hear the reverb from my mic in my ear. Basically, I can hear I sound, but you can turn
mean,
that down.
I don't know. I've tried so many different things and nothing seems to work. So I'm just like, fuck it.
Go to Google and then type in how do I turn off like reverb in for mic settings, and then whatever your laptop is.
Okay, do what? No,
Like
I'm
going to Google and like it sounds like what are you hearing yourself in the audio? Is that what you're saying?
yeah. So whenever I'm on panel and I talk to people, I echo.
So I think that's would be reverb in the
Hmm.
sound. So yeah, how to disable reverb and then like whatever your computer is, your laptop.
This
It probably
probably isn't it, but just to cover the simplest first, are you sure, and I'm just checking because this is a common problem, that you don't have the YouTube open when you're doing this? Because that is
yeah.
very common.
Yep.
If you have YouTube, like the stream, open and you join StreamYard, there's going to be an echo because it's playing you're doing it live, and it's going to like have like an echo because it's playing it through YouTube as well.
And there's a 5-second delay, so it sounds like it's
Yeah.
delayed.
So how am I supposed to get to it if I don't go to YouTube?
You can go to YouTube originally to get to the link. Okay, there's two ways. One, you leave YouTube, or two, the easiest method is you just pause the video and don't watch it.
Okay.
I just exited out. I have only StreamYard up now. Once I'm over here, then I just close the other tabs out.
That's what I do.
Oh, okay. So I need to go to the StreamYard webpage.
Yep, and just stay on that. And if you look on the side, you go up to where it says private and comments, click over to comments, and you can see all the chat from YouTube.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I can see and so I can just push the I can just like mute it. But okay, I didn't know that you could go like directly to StreamYard, that's dumb on my part.
It's all
But then
good.
I don't even know how to find you because I have to look up center left atheist.
Oh, I just subscribed and I get a notification every time.
Oh, okay, so that's how you do it. All right, well, I'll try that next time then. I didn't know that.
It's all good. Everybody learns. This isn't, people like to throw out common sense. It's not common sense. It's based on understanding how YouTube works when you're live streaming, all that good stuff. Like, it's just knowledge. I mean,
Yeah, because
everybody's got to learn.
Okay, because I've tried so many different ways and it didn't work. All right, I'll try that next time.
Here's a quote I like too: "Is never help a stupid person; they only get angry with you. Help a wise person; they'll thank you."
That's true. That is
Yeah,
true.
that is true. No, because I'm always appreciative of help and stuff like that. That is very cool. I love that.
The way people help is also important. Like assholes would be like, try to make you seem like a dumbass when they're helping you, and it's more difficult to be appreciative when you're dealing with that.
Oh, that
my
pisses me
uncle.
off.
My uncle used to come up and like poke me in the forehead, like, use your freaking head, like just being a real asshole for no reason. It's like, dude, I'm like 15, 16.
Yeah. My dad used to do shit like that. And I always found it amusing because it seemed like a defense mechanism because he's not a very smart man. So it's almost like he did that to make himself feel better.
Well, it's like my uncle. See, my uncle is a valedictorian, so he's like super smart.
Right.
But it's like outside of work, he's like the greatest person ever. Everybody's like, oh, he's so great. And at work, he's a complete fucking asshole. It's like he just took his anger out on me.
Seems like a way that he deals with work that like he just doesn't like or something. Maybe
when he's at work, he's just hyper focused, and you better not stand around, be doing nothing. You better be working that whole time. So like, there was never.
Does he apply that to himself?
Oh yeah, he's super just go. He's like he's a Gideon. He's one of the head Gideons too. He goes around the world handing out those little pocket Bibles in all the hotels and stuff.
Oh yeah, and they're the ones that put all of the Bibles inside of the hotels, instead of like the cupboards inside of the hotels. Yeah.
Like when I tell you, I come from a very religious family. Like,
So is that your family?
Everybody goes to church. Yes.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
My uncle got arrested in India. He was there handing out Bibles. Got thrown in prison for it.
Wow.
No way. That's fucked up. Wait, where? Oh my gosh. Oh, so Audie, well, I don't want to get on another topic. Well, that's really cool. So one of the people that he wasn't my colleague, but somebody that I used to work around, he was a Gideon. And so he went to Tibet, and so he was trying to do like all of this stuff to try to get people to convert to Gideism
New
or
Testament.
whatever
With
the
New
hell you call
Testament.
it.
So this little
And
pocket Bible is just the New Testament. So that's all those are. There's no Old Testament there. It's
I
all
just think
about
that's
Jesus.
weird
Oh,
whenever people try to
they're
convert.
they
I
think
just,
they're so convinced that they're doing the Lord's work that they think they're actually convincing people. Like my family would go down to Haiti and help them build like
yeah,
community centers
a
and
lot of people
churches
do
and all this
that.
shit. Well, I mean, Haiti's a war zone now. I mean, it's in civil war with 3 different parties fighting over control. So it was all for nothing. But they really think they're doing the Lord's work, and to them, they are like have full conviction that this is all real, that they're doing right.
I mean, so here's the thing is that as long as they don't try to convert people or try to say, okay, you need to be a Christian, if they're going to go down there and try to build like a school or try to build, wells or try to help them with water, like anything like that, that's awesome. That's amazing. But if you are trying to convert someone to your religion, I
Oh,
think
it's
that's
Jesus
wrong.
preaching too. Like they go down there and preach Jesus, but like, hey, if you want food, you gotta listen to all these verses and bullshit.
Yeah, no, that's not okay.
I'm
It's
dealing
no
with that
different.
right now, actually, with a family member. Not to give too many details, because sometimes my family watches my shit. But this person has a mental condition. We don't know exactly what's going on because it's not constant, but we think that he has bipolar disorder. Hello, meat lover.
Hey, Trop, good to see you, man.
Good to see you. So just to finish here, so he's going through an episode right now, and he is hyper focused on me, and I can
Huh.
tell his entire goal. He believes he's doing the good thing. He wants to convert me to Christianity. So tomorrow I actually have a kind of date set up with him where we want to go. He wants to go on a walk, and he's going to spend this entire walk basically trying to convince me of Christianity. And I'm stuck because he's a good person, right? He's not a bad person, and he really means well. And he unlike some people where I'll debate, because I think some people can entertain the idea that their God might not be real. He's not one of them. He needs religion. And I mean, he needs religion. So it's such a fucked up situation, especially for me. Like I get kind of emotional sometimes about the topic because it makes me angry sometimes. It depends on the person who I'm talking to, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, well, you might just go with him just to, I don't know, just to entertain him but just kind of put it to the wayside. And it's going to be difficult to, just keep your mouth shut and not tell him that he's wrong. But you
I've
might just go
already
to just to keep him happy. I don't know.
I spent my younger years trying to convince my family members that I was the sane one, and they were all insane.
you
It didn't go well.
won't win that. I know. I've tried myself, but I've already had this discussion because he called me while I was at work, and I was trying to be polite and everything. And I get, like I said, I'm human. I get emotional, even though knowing that he's having like a mental episode. Like he told me he was talking about good and evil, and when he gets in this state, he's very black and white. There's no nuance to anything, and he was like, "You know what evil is," and I'm like, and he pissed me off. He pushed the wrong buttons, and I said,
What the hell?
"What's evil is when you have your personal values and you try to force them onto other people as if your shit's factual. That's evil." And I heard him, and I didn't mean to, and I actually spent a while trying to kind of gain back some traction because I'm trying to help the guy. But
Trop,
Yeah, that's how
Yeah,
I feel about it
that's
too.
different. That's different. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
okay.
I still shouldn't have done it because he's not just some person in his right mind. He's he's having a problem right now, and he's not in his. He normally wouldn't do something like this. So
We
it's
see
like,
it as somebody being lost in the woods, and basically we're there. They're trying to guide him out of the woods, but they don't want to, follow us.
yeah. Well, to be fair, he's trying to do the same thing. So I try to look at it from his perspective. He believes he's essentially saving my soul, right?
Hmm.
So he has good intentions. He's a good person. It's just the problem is he can't see other perspectives. So it's like,
It's counterintuitive.
yeah, it's very difficult to deal with.
And see, what I do a lot is actually think about the thoughts of others. So, like, I think about what's that person thinking right now. A lot of people don't do that. I found out. Like,
I do my best. It's hard with him because he's in a very strange state of mind when he gets in these sort of episodes. Like he'll
it really
go,
helps to counter people, or like, yeah, you can kind of see right away if you're making them mad and shit like that.
yes, and I do my best. It's why it's better in person because I can gauge his reactions. My aunt told me that the moment I see him, I'll know. He hasn't slept in days. He'll
Okay.
go like walking the road and shit. He's been arrested before, and he got injected with some stuff, and he does not believe in medication. And now he's even more like we can't get him help because of that, because they like shoot you up with like, I don't know, trazodone or something that makes you like,
Trazodone is a sleep aid. They'll put you
Yeah,
to
that
sleep
does
like
help
no
you
other.
sleep.
not that, but something that makes it, maybe that is what it was. It's something that makes it where he felt like he couldn't control his own body, and like it messed with his mind. And now he like don't trust psychologists and stuff, so
Well,
he
it's because it
can't be
was a
helped.
traumatizing event. So
Right.
therefore, instead of him willingly doing it, he was
Exactly.
forced to do it. And there's also that childlike mindset. I see a lot of people. I bet it's probably maybe 50-60% of the population of the whole world is more like a child mindset as an adult. Like they never grow up.
That's
Like
true.
they just
It
I see
depends
that a lot.
specifically though. So in many ways, I am a child, but in other ways, I'm more the adult, and other people are a child. So I guess it's kind of complicated.
Well, and it also goes back to like each generation gains about 10 IQ points higher than the previous generation. And
Mhm.
so, like if you look back to my mom, who was like a boomer, so therefore we got, a 20-point gain on them. So then you start to see that more and more.
Yes, but also intelligence itself isn't on its own like that powerful. Meaning there needs to be a nurture component, like education. If you take away education and someone's highly intelligent, they won't like the
I'm
predisposition
self-educated. I
won't
did
do much
horrible in
for them.
school.
Right. Well, I'm similar, but I also have a personality that makes me automatically lean toward self
I'm
knowledge.
very intuitive.
Right. And you may be the same, but not everybody has that. Some people are more, they can be highly intelligent, but they have absolute shit education and they're more followers, I guess.
I was always told I'm very common sense, like wise.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm concerned that's actually purposefully the direction we're heading.
Oh, wow. What was that?
Static from somebody. But
Aliens are coming to get us.
but Trump is actively dismantling the Department of Education, trying to destroy like
Privatize it.
this is freedom of speech in its purest form. He's trying to make it to where they can only teach his agenda. They're not allowed to teach anything but right-wing shit.
Well, if you look at a lot of what they're doing, it's trying to take us back to a time when the rich held all the knowledge again. They want to dumb down the populace because it's easy to control dumb people. You just
Right.
give them bread and circuses, and they'll never, revolt.
Absolutely.
And so therefore, that's why you used to have those where people work without pay, internships. That was so because only rich kids could, work for years without pay. Nobody else could do that.
So this is even worse. But if you think about it, we've already been in a way like old times. And the reason why is because the best way to keep money in like the 1% or like in a very few hands is to control the access to education. And in our system, if you're not wealthy, with very few exceptions, you can't get like good education. I'm not talking about like freaking public school. I'm talking about college. So we've already had a system that works against the average everyday person. It's only getting worse now.
Well, and it doesn't help with social media, YouTube short, well, just short video content. It's destroying the short-term memory of people.
That
Multiple
is
studies
true.
are now coming out on it. I mean, it's just we're dumbing ourselves down, everywhere from all kinds of things, becoming lazy, not knowing how to grow food, not know how to do basic things anymore.
Well, I myself am guilty of a lot of that because of conditioning. I don't know how to do a lot of basic shit like a typical guy, at least if he was born in like the 70s or the 60s, would like, especially here in the South, would learn about like vehicles, how to like deal with car trouble and stuff. I don't know anything about any of that.
I grew up fixing all my stuff, so I broke a lot of shit, but
well, that typically that's how like children, that's how they learn. They break a lot of shit and they learn from it.
Well, my sister's grandparents, I'd go over there and they'd give us tractor engines to tear apart, like little lawnmower engines and shit, small engines. Just tearing them apart, getting to take, used to taking the bolts out and shit like that. And just did that all growing up, fixing bikes, you name it.
My brothers, that actually the bikes is where they started, like taking bicycles apart. Like they both broke a bunch.
Frankensteined them.
Yeah, but then they learned, and it was the beginning steps of that sort of mindset, and then they learned how to fix cars and all that. Now my brother is my mechanic.
I'd take computers apart and build one computer out of parts of others, and like I didn't have a lot of money growing up, and I was more resourceful though. So like I didn't think about it as a monetary way. How do I do this? I think, here's parts here, here's these parts. I can put this together and make this.
Right. It's very useful.
I
never had, even for computers, like computers have always been my thing, but I always focused on the software aspect. Like I know a little bit about coding and stuff. I don't know shit about hardware at all.
Yeah, hardware, I can take it apart and put it back together. And
hell yeah.
That was my son burping. I did a lot of building too. Like I've done everything: concrete, carpentry, fencing.
It's useful to have a whole ton of skills if you ever need to fall back on them, especially with the times as they are.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. More of a prepper mindset. They might be useful. I know how to grow food, catch fish.
I've been trying my best to prep my right-wing family because they're kind of conditioned to not take things seriously if it comes from the left. But it's not just the left. Like all of the experts are saying shit is about to get really bad. Really bad. It potentially depression, at least repression.
Yeah, this
or recession.
Recession would be like 2008, where we just receded a lot. Reports are coming out from the Fed yesterday were negative 1% GDP. We're going negative GDP.
Yep.
That's negative growth. So we're seeing Walmart closing like 78 stores, Target's closing like 80 stores. UPS just laid off 20,000 people.
Yep.
There's a whole lot of pain coming. And truckers are
some people like to live their lives to where they don't.
That's not true about Walmart, because I would know that, because I know how many stores they close down because we get in there and fix that shit.
I just saw the thing about it. There was a report the other day.
How many stores did they close?
Said 78 it's closing.
Because we do like all the dark, well, they call them dark stores. And so we have to go in there and do like all the has waste that comes out of there. So every single one that closes, we have to go into them. So, because I've done it many times before, so I would definitely know. 78 stores? Seriously? Huh.
And I'm seeing conflicting reports. There's one saying it's fake, but then I'm seeing another one saying Walmart closing. Here's the locations. So I don't know what to believe anymore either.
Yeah, that's bullshit because they would have announced it because they would have like told all of us, hey, we need a bunch of you guys to get in gear and do a different job because that's what I had to do before because there was like because whenever they shut down a bunch of
I'm gonna send over
they
a
had like
screenshot.
smaller stores that yeah that's not true.
Well, see, I don't know.
That may not be true, but it is true that about 60% of both Walmart and Amazon's shit comes from China. So even if they don't close down immediately, they're going to see some major hurting if there's not a deal made. If this tariff stays in place, it's going to be a big hit.
Yeah, I sent you a screenshot like of the conflicting stories. One article says they're closing stores, the other one says, "Oh, that's just a lie."
Yeah, that's bullshit because I would know about it because my number one customer, my only customer is Walmart. So yeah, we would definitely know about it because we have to go to every single store that closes down. It's like
Well,
mandated
maybe you
by.
haven't got the report yet. We just finished first quarter earnings.
Yeah.
No, we would know ahead of time. They let us know like well ahead of whenever like the public knows, we know well ahead of time. So if we would know like a month at least ahead of time because we have to like get everything like ready and we have to know like the stores that we're going to go to. So we would have to know like a month ahead of time for at least like a few of them, or they would have to say, "Hey, get ready because we are going to shut down like a shit ton of stores."
From my experience, corporate does not usually tell people what they don't want them to know. I'm
Right.
sorry
You know
to say
what,
that.
Rash? You are correct. I would agree with you. But well, I
Can I
mean,
give you a
you are correct, but they wouldn't tell the public before they told us. Now sometimes they do it at the last minute, but they would
no?
at
But can
least
I?
tell us like a week beforehand.
Well, it was
I could
right
tell you
before
why they're not
quarter
telling
ending.
you. I can tell you why they're not telling you. I mean, this is just a theory, but imagine you're corporate. You know you have to shut down a ton more shops, and that means you're gonna have to hire more people. You know, not just the one lady. You know, they want dozens of people, and that gives them an opportunity of hiring a whole bunch of new people at a lower wage. And they might be trying to get rid of you because you cost more than somebody, a whole bunch they can hire in one batch. You understand what I'm saying? So they might not tell you because I mean this has happened to me before. So I'm just saying it's possible that is a reason why they don't tell you that they're doing all this stuff.
Maybe.
It's
On
it's
the
usually because in my experience they don't tell people because they don't want the public to know until the very last minute. They don't want us to know sometimes because they do not want the exposure. They don't want people picketing
But they're
because
publicly
a lot of
traded.
people
They
hate
have
Walmart
to
because
just,
they're the number one retailer in the United States, and
but they
so
have to make
people get pissed
information
off.
public. If they don't, they can get like withholding information from shareholders.
Yeah,
Being
it's
that it's such a big,
they don't so yeah, it's there's a lot of different aspects to it, but Rash, yeah, I'm sure that uh, that's an aspect too. So, but
Well, you won't
I
know
don't
until
know.
you find out, right? Yeah, that's sad.
on the conflicting stories deal, it looks like from what I gathered, I didn't click on anything. Well, it was just a picture, but it looks like what one was doing is they were kind of predicting. So in 2024, a number of Walmart stores closed down. And what they were saying is this is like an indication of things to come. And maybe Walmart made certain statements that made them think that they were going to close more in 2025. And then it turns out that they decided not to. So I don't think they're necessarily conflicting. It's just one was more of a prediction than anything.
I need to get that ground news thing and just run everything through ground news.
I don't want to pay for it, but frickin' it looks so awesome. So it would do me so much service because I go out of my way to watch the right wing source and then the left wing source just to kind of gauge between them, compare and contrast. And that
And it
does
does
it
that
for
for
you.
you.
Yes. It would be so
It
awesome.
weighs them against each other, and he finds that middle kind of.
Fake news.
Well, there's
Well,
fake
that's
news on both sides. That's the
Oh
problem.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
It's flood the zone and then just put as all over everything.
So yeah, so it says it's projected to have 11 stores closed, which that like over the entire year of 2025.
Well, I think things are going to change here. Yeah, because here I got Georgia, Maryland, Ohio, Wisconsin, Colorado, and California all closing stores.
Hmm.
That's
I mean,
six.
over the entire year, that does make sense.
Which everything with online e-commerce, everything's I mean, you don't need these big stores anymore. You can just have a warehouse with a couple workers, some robots,
Yeah,
and
right.
I
So
think that's the future.
they
Like,
don't
Exactly.
build any new stores. They are not building any new stores
Brick and
at
mortar
all.
is going away. Like we used to have a mall. It's not a mall anymore. It's a medical place bought half of it, and then somebody else uses another half of it.
I
you
think
guys
brick and
didn't
mortar
hear
is
what
gone. Like, if you
It
think about it, it's all
Yeah,
it is a
it
middleman that
is.
takes profit on top of like
well,
what
exactly. It's rent,
nothing.
utilities, and employees.
Mhm.
Yep,
If you can cut out those, you got more profit for shareholders, and they're going to
exactly.
move that.
Yep, you're right.
Which is why
That's
Amazon is sort of the way of the future. And I don't necessarily like Amazon, but that's where people should be heading.
I can proudly
yeah.
say I have still never bought anything from Amazon.
Really?
Oh, I love Amazon.
Nope, I won't give them my money.
I
won't be a
I
understand.
thought,
monster.
guys, those Temu, Amazon, and all that. But I think it's only the Chinese ones. But just this morning, I saw a headline that Trump has closed some kind of postal loophole so that people no longer can ship stuff online using those Chinese Temu and what's the other one?
Oh
The stuff
yeah,
we
yeah,
all
I
want.
saw that because
You
I'm
saw
I'm
that,
like
right?
addicted to Temu.
Well, see,
Yeah,
that's the
I
thing.
did.
See,
I
I'm
saw that, Rash, and so I was like, no.
Well, I'm sorry about that too.
Well, did you see about the shipping? Like the ports are now being emptied. Like there's no ships coming into the ports. Like,
Yep. And
and there's a lot of
Seattle was a big one.
Oh, wow.
Yep. He's
and
causing damage. The thing is he's convincing a lot of people, or at least some people, that this is necessary for the game plan. Some people believe that Trump is playing 4D chess. He knows exactly what he's doing,
he's playing
and
checkers.
there's yeah, and he's playing Connect Four.
Did you
And
watch his ass kissing ceremony?
yes,
Oh God,
That
that was
yes.
was
I feel
cringe.
bad
I
for
mean,
those
my
people.
skin wanted to get up and leave.
He keeps making constant mistakes, and he does his tried and true tactic. Anyone around him, he blames them, and then he puts all the blame for his fuck ups on them, just like he did Steve Bannon, and then gets rid of them. They get screwed, and he's like in the clear. He's like, I've never done anything wrong. I'm perfect.
That's what I was like talking to Rash the other day about. It's like nothing sticks to this guy. Like the Epstein shit came up today. I put the thing over in the news thing.
Yeah,
He just redacted everything that was anything useful and just put basically a blank statement out about it.
Yeah,
he does
he
this all
tries
the
to make
time.
himself look like the hero. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. He knows how to say it, and then everybody tries to believe it. And then like all the Republicans are. I mean, everybody
He's a
knows what he's
carnival
doing is fucking
barker.
ridiculous, but they're all a
He
bunch of
talks up a
fucking
big
pussies.
show, and then the show's just shit.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing is so dumb, and it's gonna make the people that you know the people.
We could have avoided this. This is just
Yes, we could have.
unnecessary stress.
Well,
Which
now
It's
the
sad.
bright side is now even his closest supporters, some are starting to go, dude, enough is enough. You're fucking destroying everything.
Oh,
Like,
are they?
Republicans are turning on Trump. Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
well, the
Some
town
of them.
halls. If you go watch the town halls that were going on They were getting spicy.
Yep. And
Okay.
also, like Amazon and the people that got him elected, the people who, typically during inauguration, they have like cabinet members. Instead, it was all the fucking 1%ers. Those 1%ers are pushing back on him and going, "You're fucking us, dude. You promised that you were going to make us richer."
Well, there's
Oh,
also
like the 1%?
if you
The
follow
the
Warren
richest
Buffett,
people. Yeah.
Warren
Exactly.
Buffett always likes a crash. Every American pays him like $90 a year. He has like $300 billion in treasuries. He has his fingers like Berkshire and Hathaway. I was walking through town the other day and I saw a house. It was literally owned by Berkshire and Hathaway. Like he has his fingers in everything, and he always says a crash means cheap prices, and that's when
Yes.
he and the rich buy up everything. So
Yep.
by crashing things, they're actually getting it cheap.
Yes. So they're complaining because they're losing a lot of their money in the short term. But if we do have a depression or even a recession, you're right. That's exactly what they're hoping for, especially real estate. They've been working on this for years. They've bought up all the little mom and
Vanguard
pop
and BlackRock.
own. Yes, that's their new strategy.
Well,
They're
it's all
taking all the land.
B&Bs. Well, and the thing is, we don't have actually a housing shortage. We actually have too much luxury housing that nobody can
Yes.
afford.
I saw
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
That's exactly what they're doing here. Is all the rich people from out
It's
of town, they're
it's all
buying all the
gonna
property
crash.
up so nobody can afford the shit that us regular people like me, I can't afford. I mean, I'm trying to move and I'm having to
They
pay
did
$300 more than my rent is right now, and I'm gonna have
They
to
did
start
this in
like,
Australia too. Odyssey might know what's going on too. They built more luxury housing than anything, and nobody can afford these shitty houses anyway. The quality is actually just shit. They're just overpriced.
Well,
Just
the
flood the
thing
market.
is, and this is their strategy, it's just like monopolies in other areas of business. If they work together, and that's what the rich people do, they can all jack up prices and you don't have a choice. You either pay that or you don't have a home.
Yeah,
Right.
collude. Yeah,
And
collude.
that's what they're doing. It's fucked up and it should be illegal. There should be fucking Congress actually working to give a fuck,
Well,
but
they're
they
part
don't
of it.
care. I know
They
that they're
have
getting paid off.
invested interests. Well, they have stocks in these things, and by setting things up so that way they become more profitable, they get more
Yep.
shares, or not
And,
shares,
and
but
a lot
dividends.
of people on the left don't want to hear this. That is also Democrats. That's fucking
it's
Democrats too.
that's
it's
why I try to tell.
everyone.
Yes, it's
I'm not a party affiliate. I am an independent. Always been. I never voted for anybody. Bernie was going to be my choice, and he got fucked over, and I just said, "Fuck the system."
right. That's where I am, and I still have like a shred of hope left for AOC and Bernie, but I don't know if it's well founded or not. For all I know, they're just as corrupt. But so far, I'm holding on to that shred of hope that they actually give a shit and they actually stand
Bernie-
by their values.
Bernie is our V for Vendetta right now.
I think
Words are-
I think
you
all rich
can't kill
people are
words.
pieces of shit.
I believe that
Bernie-
for the most part. I believe that too.
Bernie is the messenger. He is educating the young people that will listen to his message onto what they need to do to take back their country.
Oh, whatever.
Pete Pategi or whatever, that guy goes on Fox News and likes to school them to their face and does it with a smile. I see him being probably our next president if the Democrats pull their head out of their ass.
You talking about Pete Buttigieg?
Yeah,
Buttigieg or something like that.
Buttigieg. Yeah,
that's it.
Buttigieg. Yeah, he's a combat veteran. I mean, that guy is smart as I mean.
I like him.
He is really good with rhetoric, and he's similar to Obama. He's good with words, and that's important. The problem is like half of the country don't care about logic. They don't care about their president being intelligent.
Well, they will after this. They're all
I hope so.
Well, you got
and a lot of the people, they don't have any money that voted for him, and they won't even care that he's
thing.
a lot. I mean, so many.
A lot of people like upper middle class did vote for Trump as well because they think they're going to get tax cuts.
Yep.
But the tax cuts are going to be for the richest people, and the burden's going to be put on to them
Yep.
And the poorest people are going to have all their benefits cut. Like they're working on destroying Social Security. They're trying to cut Medicaid, Medicare,
The
food
actual
stamps.
Republicans, I can't remember his name, but a big name Republican actually told Trump, dude, do you know how many people in your base? There's a ton of right wingers that are dependent on Medicaid and also food stamps, EBT. Like you are fucking yourself right now. But he just went through with it anyway.
Like
He didn't
food
give a
stamps
shit.
is a
No.
subsidy for farmers. It pays farmers for a lot of their stuff that they wouldn't sell otherwise. And it also feeds a lot of people, make sure that food ain't going to waste.
Right.
So therefore it's a double benefit for both parties. And they're cutting things like that. Farmers are losing their ass on many things. And now the people are losing meals. Schools are getting their meals cut. Education's being cut. And it's
that
all for a tax
that
cut.
explains his unpopularity right now, which is to me a little glimmer of hope. So there will always be like between 25 and 30% that will always stick with Trump no matter what. Those are the cult members. But most of the country now is pissed, and that's a good thing.
I do see it like V for Vendetta. Like, remember how they did the propaganda, like, for England and everything, as all this patriotism bullshit.
Right.
And that's like Fox News has a grip on people.
Yep. They know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. That programming is targeted to just make you throw out all logic and believe what they tell you, and only that.
That's why we need Audie, man. He lives in Australia. You need to take out that piece of shit that owns Fox News.
Oh, it's Murdoch's son now.
Fucking Rupert Murdoch.
Nope, he retired. His son now runs it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just ran off with his like 10th wife or something like that, and
he's the guy that's behind the Party of Family Values with his 10th wife.
Well,
the irony.
I always thought that was like the thing, because I always had to listen to Rush Limbaugh, and my uncle always watched Bill O'Reilly, and
oh my god, me
both
too.
of those men were alcoholics, beat their wives, and were nobody would date them, like nobody would even go near them.
Oh my god, Gadwin, me too. Like my dad was, it was like Heil Hitler to like fucking to that.
I hate Rush
it was
Limbaugh.
just like,
I'm so glad he died. I mean, that is one person I'm glad is gone from this earth.
Do you remember Glenn Beck?
Yes, he went crazy.
He was a fucking creep ass piece of shit.
I liked him at first when he was just first on Fox News, when he was actually trying to teach you like how things worked and things like that. He was actually kind of like a teacher. It was all right, but then he went down the fucking rabbit hole.
He was horrible. Well, I mean, my dad he would like listen to the radio for all of them like constantly, and then he would like make me listen to it, and he's like, listen to him, this guy is amazing.
The worst one, my cousin was addicted to Ben Shapiro. I could not stand listening to that whiny little bitch. Me. Talk real fast about everything.
Well, that's why everybody thinks he's so smart. All he does is he talks fast. That's it. Like, and don't get me wrong, he's not an idiot, but he's a liar, obviously. And he's not a genius, though, is my point. He's not as smart as people think he is.
No, the thing is, both his parents are directors. They're big Hollywood like producers and shit like that. Like, he comes from a family of lefties. He grew up in lefty land, and I think he just got ostracized, and he's just pissed off at everybody. Let me part of their chess club. Fuck you guys.
That's probably a big part of it. But I don't think he actually believes a majority of what he says. He is he's the poster child for a grifter. He is the grifter of all grifters. He pushes
that's why he has the Daily Mail or
neoliberal shit.
Like that.
Yes. And even on top of all the... What?
You're hurting my feelings. Because you know how you don't really know how your voice sounds? But I think my voice sounds like Ben Shapiro. That's what it sounds. His voice sounds like what my voice sounds.
His is whiny.
No?
He sounds like a
Thank
whiny
God.
little bitch.
You don't have a whiny tone to your voice.
I thought I did.
I'm not sure who that is.
You kind of have a little bit of a faster rhythm to your talking, but that's in itself is not a bad thing.
like your size, I can determine kind of by your voice, like how you
Yeah, that makes
smaller
sense.
people talk a little faster, and the tone isn't as deep. You don't have as much windpipe.
Shapiro's. I mean, I don't know. I can't compare because I only see him on TV. He's a small guy, right? Is he?
Yes, he's
Okay,
short.
that makes sense. All right, thank you. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Go on.
It's all good.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
I think he's also probably a closet homosexual.
There's a good possibility of it.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
He doesn't want because he wants to be so religious and pure, so therefore he can't give in to his inhibitions, and so therefore he hates himself because he can't give in to his inhibitions.
There is a big link there for sure, and I generally see it manifest in people that are hyper focused on it, like they're
Mhm.
always talking about homosexuality being evil and stuff. Those are the
Like
people that are.
preachers, and then like
Mhm.
that Keith whatever guy got found in a hotel room with another man after he was like the most anti-gay preacher ever. And it's like,
My biggest example is fucking what's that dude? The crazy guy. He's black and a conservative. Fuck.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about him on one of the
Jesse
streams.
Lee Peterson.
And
He's
yeah,
the
and he got
perfect
caught.
example, and he's gay. He's been caught with little boys and shit. Like
Gross.
exactly, and so it's not just a one-off. Everybody's like, yeah, you're using. No, it's a common thread here. It's a big.
What?
It is.
This is
It
one
is.
thing here boggles my mind too. Do you ever see about one of those gay dating apps? Whenever there's a Republican convention, there's so many people using those apps in one place that the apps actually shut down.
I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
It's so there's all these.
What they're
Kind
using
of-
like Grinder?
That's it. Yeah, Grinder. Whenever they had the Republican National Convention, the Grinder or whatever went down because there's so many of them in one location. Every Republican convention is a big gay like meetup.
That's hilarious.
But that's the fucked up thing is like that party's all about anti-gay bullshit. But yeah, it has a whole shitload of gay people in it.
It's
They're
about
all closet.
it's because they're stuck in their tribalistic mentality and their like upbringing of that it's wrong. So they have like self-hatred, but they repress it and like push it outward. They project it onto everyone else.
It's okay. It's 6 days of the week, but they got Sunday, the repent for them.
I think it's like that thing because if gays are supposed to be sinful, right? Then you're immediately attracted to the idea of, oh, that must be good. I mean, Muslims do this too. I know Muslims
There
who,
might be an element of that. I don't know.
I mean, pork is obviously haram, but I know Muslims who literally will go overseas just to try a ham sandwich. You know?
Oh
So
yeah, I would believe it. That's weird though.
The
Honestly,
Muslims
they're
get
not allowed.
I'm not religious at all, but I just
That's
don't
so
really
funny.
care for pork. It's not my thing. I don't like it very much.
I like pork tenderloins. They're good.
Really?
I think I
Oh,
would
yeah.
like pork. I've
Well,
had
see-
bacon before by accident a few times, but
She
I
makes
think
up
I would like pork.
a pork tenderloin. We make up
Mm.
rice, and then we do vegetables like root vegetables or Brussels sprouts, and then mix it all together. Cut the pork up. Oh, it's really good. Buttered on
Dude,
the
I love
rice.
lamb, and I love having fat on my meat. It's just I love
Mm.
it. Pig's pretty fatty as far as I know, so I think I would love it.
Oh yeah, it's juicy.
I'm kind of the opposite. I like to put my meat in fat.
Okay, sorry, we went there.
I like the chubby guys.
Beef curtains.
Beef curtains. That's one of those. That's one of those sayings that has the best mental image when it pops into your head.
Hmm.
You want to split some ham hocks?
Rash, you're Muslim, right? I should already
Yeah.
know this.
Yeah.
So are you a good Muslim or are you a bad Muslim?
He's not wasabi.
I'm a bad Muslim, but a good person, hopefully.
Okay, so if you're a bad Muslim, then you definitely eat pork.
No, I do not eat pork, but because I've grown up in the West, sometimes they do stupid things like put little chunks of bacon when you order a Caesar salad.
Yep.
And it's
Or little
what is
little
oh,
pork.
what the fuck is that? Yeah.
little pork cubes in like collard greens or like string
Yeah.
beans and stuff. It's just mixed in there.
So how do
It's-
you measure good and bad when it comes to being a Muslim, whether or not you're a fundamentalist, like you
Oh,
follow everything?
Do you do
the
the call
mainstream
to
Islamic
prayer
idea
every?
is paying attention to God. If you do not pay attention to God, then you're a bad Muslim. And a lot of people take that to mean I can do anything else I want that is definitely wrong in some way, as long as I pay attention to God. And that
Mm.
makes no sense to me. But
So they're interpreting things how they want.
exactly like
Yeah.
everybody does.
I know a lot of Christians that do that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very common thing. I
Yeah,
think
well,
the worst,
there's
the
good there's
worst,
good Christians and bad Christians.
that is true. But I think the worst is Catholicism, and people get mad because it's very popular. It's the worst psychologically because they literally
No,
have a
it's not.
system set
Pentecostals
up.
are.
I think Catholics are worse because
No, that's bullshit.
they have a system set up where you can do whatever the fuck you want, no matter how evil. You go to a fucking
Confession.
confession,
Oh,
and then
hell yeah.
everything's good to go. It teaches people to be evil, and it's okay.
I know.
Islam
I
makes
can
it
just do a few Hail Marys and then,
That's
do the sign
wrong.
of the cross and
What?
boom, I'm good to go.
I
Exactly,
mean,
that's wrong.
that's just one small part of the Catholic Church.
Hey,
That's
wrong.
true.
Like,
I'm a Catholic.
there's so many other things like
I'm
just
not saying every Catholic is evil. I'm saying, on the whole, I think it's one of the most problematic religions.
well, like I tell people, I'm not anti like spiritualist. You can have spirituality. I don't care. You can pray to the trees, the mountains, the sun, whatever. I don't fucking care. But whenever you have an established religion that tries to dictate things in my life or control things that would influence things in my life, I don't want that around.
Okay,
Right.
you're gonna love this, guys. In Islam, right? We don't have confession the way they have it. You go anytime. What we do have is doing the Hajj. When you go on the Hajj, you all your sins are forgiven. You don't even well, you probably are asking for your sins to be forgiven, but you just have to go and your sins are forgiven.
That's
But
what
going
baptism
on Hajj
is.
is expensive, which means those really rich weirdo Arab ones, those kind of people, they can go every year
Hmm.
and people like they're good. And the poor people obviously cannot. They maybe once in their lifetime if they're lucky. I know plenty of 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds here who never could afford to go.
Well, the
So
thing is, you also have people like the Pope will come out with gold crosses draped in gold in a gold car and tell you greed is bad. Don't be greedy. Be good to
Yep.
your neighbor.
yeah,
I
true.
personally see that, and I talk shit about religion all the time, but I have to be honest. I don't think it's the religion. I think it's people corrupting.
Being people.
Yes,
Yeah.
the people know that religion is a very powerful way of controlling people and manipulating them. So evil people pretend like they're part of the religion and use it for their own gain. And that's why, just like you're talking about, we do the same thing here, where if you have money, you get certain advantages.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
You can buy
fucked, but
influence.
I mean, there's good and horrible aspects about religion. I mean, I think I think for some people, like my mom as an example, she grew up Catholic. My mom is like the most wonderful person I've ever known, and for her, being Catholic, I think it gives her a sense of purpose. It makes her happy. It gives her structure, and it gives her like a sense of belonging with other people that have similar beliefs.
But
It
that's
just,
also where ignorance is bliss, because she doesn't know about so many other
but
things.
it
Where,
doesn't But Gadwin, it doesn't matter. It
well, that's
doesn't matter.
exactly. I know exactly.
The thing is
That's why I
is
said
that she's
spirituality
happy
doesn't
and
matter.
that she's a good person. And so to me, like in her brain, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. And she may not be logical and it may be false, but it doesn't matter because she's still a good person and it makes her happy and it makes her a wholesome person. And so it is illogical. And I definitely agree with you. But for her, it makes her a good person. And so just
Exactly,
because
but that's why I'm waiting for religion to die out as it is. As each generation gets smarter than the previous, they don't fall for the things that previous generations did. They don't believe in like gods like we used to. We don't believe in any of the pagan shit because we outgrew those and educated otherwise.
Well, and it probably will. I'm just saying for some
Science
people,
is
it doesn't.
educating
It's not a
people.
bad thing.
We're in
God
the
of the past.
process now. We're losing religiosity slowly, but it's very slowly.
That's actually, if you look at the numbers from like what atheism was in like the 70s and now, I mean, it's gone up like 40%.
True.
I would say so, probably.
It's a
Maybe
pretty
not
big
that much,
jump,
but
but I
go on.
think is yes, there's been a massive shift all of a sudden, but it's also about like it's not black and white, like you're either religious or you're not. There's a lot of in between. And I think the more extreme, the more dedicated people, it's going to take a long time. In fact, there may be a small percentage that will always be there. Like
Look at Europe. Europe is one of the best demographics to look at. For it's almost every country now is fully just non-affiliated. Just nobody cares.
Especially the Scandinavian countries, they seem to have.
Well, even
moved in that
Italy.
direction.
Italy's only like
Really?
6% really
Yeah,
religious. Like
I
people that
saw that
actually go to
too.
church every Sunday. Like if you go and look in a church, when I watch a church down the street, oh excuse me, I need to get a drink.
You're good.
Yeah, no. Okay, so
it's
I
just
thought that
gray
I saw
hair in there.
something
I
about
didn't.
like
I didn't think Italy would ever become like
no, that
majority
is true.
non-religious.
I was thinking that it was the United States, but it was about Italy that I saw. It was either
US is one of
Italy
the
or
most.
the entirety of Europe, but they especially like focused on Italy just because it's Rome and that's where the Pope resides. But yeah, the amount of people that are religious has declined. I
Pope's in
mean,
the
just
Vatican.
vastly. It's insane.
Italy's-
So yeah.
Vatican is its own country.
Well, you got to remember population growth as well. Europe is getting less populous because they're not having many children, and there's all those other countries, a lot of them Muslim,
Education.
sorry to say, but they're growing in population. So you telling me 40%, oh, is a big jump? Yeah, okay, it is a big jump of a small percent of the pie.
That is true, and it's true that of the religions that currently do exist, Islam is growing faster than any of the other ones.
But
I've
if you
Yeah.
heard
also
that
look
for
at
a long time.
statistics,
Yeah.
there's more
You
people
can
leaving
look at the
all
immigration.
religions
No,
than
that's
there
true.
are joining. So if you look at the rates of people joining and the people leaving, more people are leaving religions than joining.
That is true. I just mean of the ones, if that's all we're focusing on, Islam is, and many think that it's about birth rates. That's the primary reason.
It's
Um,
not.
I don't
Forgate
think people
easier.
joining and leaving is such a big part of it, because have you ever tried to convert somebody to be an atheist? It's almost impossible.
Well,
Nobody
here-
really converts.
Well, if you look at it in the short term, like it is true that people individually almost never change their mind on either side. But
Yeah,
if you look in the big picture, it's about generations. It's about the next generation and then the next generation. It's
Well, I
like it's a
don't know if
long-term thing.
If it's like
okay, true enough.
here, but our churches, well, there's a bunch of them. They just pop up like freaking weeds almost. But these new churches pop up. The congregations all going along. A couple of years go by, and then all of a sudden they have a schism.
Mhm.
One branch goes off and starts a new church, and one branch stays at the old church, and then you get another church, and then another, and then they schism off. And it just we have these schisms of schisms of schisms all across this area, and they don't have enough people attendance to actually fund these churches now. So now they're
That's
all going
weird.
under.
And it's what, personal differences, and they just break off, is it?
Yeah.
It's usually the leader,
Yeah.
right? The leader
Yeah,
gets,
it's their version, how it's interpreted. That's it.
yeah.
Why did Audie block me? That's weird.
Oh,
I
he's
don't
big
know.
on block. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, strange.
I'll be back in just a moment. And by the way, I'm going to be running for another 30 minutes.
Okay.
Nobody show any dick pics, please.
Don't
So
talk about the
with
time. I
me-
bet we can make them go for an hour and a half. Yeah.
So with me, as far as Catholicism, the reason that I stopped going is that I would go to church and there were so many beliefs that I would hear the priest say that I would look at my daughter and I would just like, ugh, it made my stomach turn, and
Well,
I just thought so many of the beliefs were disgusting, and so
well, that's
I stopped going. It just grossed me out.
well. My grandmother made me go watch The Passion of the Christ when I was like 15. Our church played that, and it's literally like just a gore film of just like watching a man just get beat for an hour and a half.
I haven't seen it, but it is on Netflix, and I've only seen the South Park episode about it.
It's literally that's all it is. It's just it's almost it's for like somebody sent the gore.
Yeah, I think it was Kyle and Stan were just puking the whole movie because it was just so disgusting or something. My mum was Catholic, by the way, and she left for two reasons. One is the obvious reason of everybody knows about the Catholic Church and children
Hmm.
and stuff. I'm not going
Yeah.
to say what, but something happened to her. And the other one was
Oh, I'm
back
sorry.
in back in back in those days, babies who aren't baptized go to limbo, and she didn't like that. I think they've
Wait.
changed it
What
now.
did you say?
There used to be babies who are not baptized go to limbo, and
What do you
some-
mean? What does that mean?
well, if
Well,
you're a Catholic, if you're a Catholic baby or just any baby of any religion or not, and you're not baptized, you don't go to heaven or hell. If you die, you go to limbo. Like so,
limbo,
Oh,
basically, babies are
purgatory,
born stillborn, or
okay.
they die when they're young of
a
SIDS or
cherub.
something like.
They
Okay,
become a
I
cherub.
understand.
They don't become a cherub. You're thinking of what's his name, 40K.
No, well,
Okay.
cherubs are baby angels. They're supposed to be babies that died, young and didn't know the difference between
Oh,
anything, so they become
okay.
cherubs, baby angels.
I didn't know that. I thought cherubs were
40K.
just another kind.
Remember, 40K steals from everything else. You don't 40K and nothing steals from 40K. They just stole everybody else's shit.
Well, it worked out fine. It's very popular.
It worked out very well. So
Yeah.
most people don't care, like whether it's original, whatever. All we care about is it's fucking fun and it's entertaining and it's
How it's put together, how it's woven.
as
Yeah.
long as they stick to canon. If like the shit they have created works in their world, people are usually happy.
Well, and
Oh,
40K is so grim, dark. It's so unbelievably dark and stuff that it makes anything in our lives that is hard right now trivial, seem trivial.
That's true. I
And
could
it's
see
helping
that as a
actually a lot of
draw.
people get through things.
Me, I'm a little like I'm interested. It's like the opposite for me. I like the dark, so it's like that is the draw to me. That's why I like 40K and the Warhammer universe in general. Even the what do you call the just fantasy if it's not the
Yeah,
space
it's
version?
Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, both of them I like because even the good guys are dark. They like embellish skulls and shit, imagery and
It's
stuff.
all moral. It's like a gray. Everything's
Mhm.
gray. There is no really bad guys. So like the Tyranids or space insectoids, they don't know the difference. They're just doing what they're biologically programmed to do, devour everything. But everybody sees them as like this horror that's gonna kill everything.
It's similar to the Illithid. I mean, they are sort of more typically evil, but they also have to survive. And like the psionic shit and stuff.
Yeah, I like the
uh,
Illithids. I mean, it's a parasitic thing. It's like it goes from that little parasite and grows the whole person into the form.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
oh, it's definitely interesting.
So,
I like to compare it with like actual hard science fiction and see where it lies and where it I
No,
think
Petey.
I was talking to Gads about it before, and it was why they don't have certain things that you should almost definitely have in such a big galaxy, like some certain megastructures. And then after a while, talking to Gads, it's like, okay, now I understand why they don't have some of those things because there's even bigger monsters running around. Like
mhm.
if you can blow up a star just by thinking about it, then yeah, okay, some of these megastructures that I love would not exist because somebody would see see it as a threat and just blow up the star that it's circling around. You win. End of story. But
And
yeah,
just most of them are just so unfeasible. Like just the scale is just too large. Material science is, I don't think would ever get to that point.
you got magic in 40K, so don't tell me about material science being that magical, okay? I'm just saying, man.
Like our
You could have
strongest
anything.
material now is carbon nanotubes, and I mean we can't even mass produce that in any, industrial
And
scale.
apparently, carbon nanotubes are not strong enough to make a space elevator.
Yeah,
That's the last thing I heard about that.
I was hoping that would be, feasible.
You can on the moon. It is just strong enough that the gravity of the moon is low enough that you could use carbon nanotubes as a space elevator on the moon and maybe Mars.
Well,
but on Earth, no way. Apparently.
Well, maybe if we somehow put it in a centrifugal force where it got rid of the forces of gravity on it, and then be able to slide something up and down that.
You're thinking of something that might be called, I think they call it space hooks. It's basically a giant sort of lever spinning around in orbit, and you fly up your ship into low orbit, and it hooks you and uses momentum to swing you the rest of the way out of orbit.
Well, no, I'm thinking
Sorry, I
if you
watch a
put
lot
like
of these stuff.
so if somehow you could print like a giant cylinder all the way from space, because you'd have to bring the space elevator from space down. So you take material up and then produce it and inject like a mold down. So you bring like this big carbon nanotube down, but at the same time you're also spinning it. So therefore it reduces the pull of gravitational pull on it because you're giving that centrifugal force.
You mean spin it along its long lengthwise axis?
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought of. I don't know. My physics is not good enough to. I don't know if you could do that. I don't know.
Then
Space to me is illogical, just like religion.
And then you could just use some kind of like a donut, vehicle to go up and down it, but it does a counter spin to counter the spin of the rotation of the core, basically. And then you won't have spin going up in the elevator; it'd just be normal for them.
If you were spinning that tube, you have your tube elevator around it. You could have wheels on a slight angle, and the spinning of the tube is your motor sending it up and down.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Easy way. No engine needed.
I have no engineering brain. I can't even visualize this stuff.
I just don't care.
I think it's important. Go ahead.
I've never had any interest in space. I just think it's boring. And
anytime somebody comes up with like a question, how's something like how do we fix this or something, like my brain just throws shit right together, like, and it's just like boom, I have it. I don't even really have to think about it.
You seem to be similar to Rash in that regard. You have a well-developed engineering type brain.
Yeah,
I deal in thought more.
Gad is good at everything. That's the only thing that we're really even close to it in intelligence. So yeah, he's just good at everything.
I am an idiot, and I know this.
An idiot 7. Yes, very good. That works too, man.
that tends to be the case for all 7s. They usually have one area that they really struggle in. Usually, not always, but usually.
Never look at my handwriting. It's horrible. I'm dyslexic as all hell, so I mean it's all over the place. But a keyboard, everything's programmed at a certain specific spot, so therefore typing for me, kind of gets rid of that. Now, once in a while, I'll throw a P in for a B or a B for a P, but most of the time I can get pretty good with my dyslexia when it's typing.
Fair enough. I'm still one of those people who looks at the keyboard in order to type.
Oh, I never do. I get lost more if I look at it.
Oh my God, most people do. I think still. I do. I can't. I've never been able to not look at the keyboard.
My fingers know the keyboard better than my eyes.
I'm the same because I've fucking done online shit for so long. But I don't do home row. I hunt and peck with just index fingers, but I'm pretty fast.
Oh, really?
Nope. I'm a home row. You find me those little nebs on there, and my fingers go to town. But
yeah, no, I suck. I'm fucking slow, and I suck even worse on my phone. Oh my God, because I will I'll always I can't what are the keyboard because I'll always type like one letter for another constantly. So that's why I always use to chat. I always have to use well, I try to use my laptop just because it's got like a bigger keyboard, so I don't like type the wrong word
I
constantly.
can't even hold a phone with two hands. Like I can't. A phone fits in one of my hands.
I don't even have big hands, but I can't deal with just texting. Like I hate fucking not having a keyboard. It drives me crazy.
That's the weird thing. With my thumb, I don't have to look at my phone's keyboard. But on a
Really?
keyboard, yeah, with just I think it's easier to train one digit than to train 10. It might be it. But yeah,
Maybe.
I don't have to look at the keyboard when I'm typing on my phone.
Hmm.
I don't
It's
miss
weird.
the old days of typing on the phone where you had to use the number pad. You had to go
Oh
through
yeah.
three letters
Oh,
to get
oh, that was crazy.
I
Back
think
before
now
color
all you
screen.
got to do is like talk and they'll convert it into speech. I don't have it, but I think it's pretty common now.
That's exactly what I do, and then I go back and fix the stuff that's messed up.
Yeah.
I just saw a cochlear implant you can get now. It's an ear device, like a hearing aid. It would instantly translate any language. So somebody could be talking to it, instantly translates it in your ear to your
Is it
in your
accurate?
language.
It's not like Google Translate.
Well, that's yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
something
I would have to
different.
use it if I had it and used it at work. I probably could tell you, but
Yeah, because I know what you're so because I love to watch like the travel videos on YouTube, and there was one guy that he was like in China and he was using something like that, like to talk to a driver that he had hitchhiked, and so it could talk to this guy and would talk back to him, but it would actually he could it wouldn't be just in typing, it would just he could hear it, and
yeah, it
so it made it
translates in
so
real
much
time
easier. Yeah.
audio.
Exactly. But I
well,
don't
you
know
can
what the device is called. I don't
you
I
can
don't know. It might just be a
thank Star
paid
Trek for that.
there's
Star Trek
probably a
has
paid app or something.
Oh yeah, I use Google Translate at work. The one guy I work with, he's only speaks Spanish, and I
Oh,
only speak
okay.
English.
Yeah.
We're buddies though. I help him out all the time. He has assistants, like so he can't walk really well. But him and I've been like teaching each the other things. I gave him a cherry Pepsi the other day. He goes, "Wow, cherry Pepsi!" And it's fucking hilarious. And like so, like I always like he actually give me a ride sometimes.
I would
Muchas
troll him. I'd be
gracias,
like,
señor.
he would be like, "Como se dice en inglés?" And I would like teach him how to say butt sex for another like normal word or something.
Colo would be butt. Your ass, colo.
I
Is
learned a
that what
little bit just from
Like your
being around
welcome
them.
would be de nada.
Yep.
No thanks.
So I'm trying to learn Spanish. To me, it's
Well,
to me
I
it
know
should
a
be
good
normal.
amount, but I this is where we disagree. I feel that it's on principle. Like I know a good amount. I could probably speak. I feel like I shouldn't have to. I feel like I put myself in their place. If I moved to Mexico or El Salvador, whatever,
you
and
should learn
my
Mexican.
first rule, my first freaking order of business would be to learn the language in the region. Like
But what if you're traveling?
that's different. And I
You
don't
see,
judge I don't judge people that are tourists, but if you're living there, I feel like that should be the like your number one at the very least you can do that.
I look at it
Yeah.
as more
No,
of a
that's true. I
personal
agree.
improvement. If I can learn more languages and know more, so even if
That's fair. So
like if there's people talking about me, I'll understand what they're saying. Not so
that's fair. So I'm a little weird and I view if you're interested in languages, that's one thing and that's cool, especially if you're getting something out of it. Plus there's financial benefit because being bilingual is very lucrative. But for outside of all that, I don't have the personality for it. And two, I kind of view it as a waste of mental space. The reason why is because you're essentially learning to say the exact same thing in two different ways. You're learning an entirely different language, which says the same, basically the same vocabulary, the same everything, but you're just adding on a new one. But you're not learning anything new.
I guess I look at like Europeans. Like if you go to Europe, most people there are bilingual. I mean, they know 2, 3, 4 languages. I mean, we knew the
Yeah.
Italian woman. She knew, I think, 4.
Right.
Well, because they're pretty much all the same. I mean, they're all
Well,
like romantic languages, so
well,
it's
no,
really easy for
they're
them to.
all close. All the countries are close by each other, so they were just back and forth, and it became, like
Yeah.
traders, and everybody just was. It's natural to be bilingual for them. And
Mhm.
if you look at America, if you break it down into regions, we do have regions that do have different English, how we're spoken, accents, and all that shit.
True.
I mean, you go up to Canada. I mean, Montreal in that area, they only speak French. You
Yeah.
go up there, and
Yeah,
all the
but
radio stations are French. I mean, if
so
you're
I
bilingual,
chat with a person. So and she's French Canadian, and she said that she went to France, and they got pissed off because they didn't understand a freaking word that she said. And so she was just like, so she put her hands up, and she just started speaking English.
it's all that A at the end.
They have their own version of French or
I
something.
guess so. She said
I
that,
wouldn't.
they couldn't understand her at all. I
Hmm.
mean, I guess
From what
maybe
I know,
some
it's
did, but I
exactly
don't
the
know.
same accent, different maybe. But from what I know, we learned the numbers and stuff in school, French.
Hmm.
I mean, she might have been exaggerating a little, but I don't know. She said that's what she said.
Well, I don't know.
She was probably exaggerating a little bit,
I think so.
but pretty much,
Uh,
as if you're traveling somewhere, if you're like respectful, I mean, so the thing is like, if you know hello, goodbye, please, thank you. Do you know where the bathroom is? El baño, if it's Spanish, just something to be
Baño.
respectful,
El
to
baño.
be.
So
Yeah.
I can agree with at least learning those basic things, even as
Yeah.
an English speaker, and I know those basic things. I can have a rough conversation with someone that only speaks Spanish. I really do feel that, especially if they live here for many years, it's kind of entitled to think like, I don't need to learn that, fuck that, like I'm not even staying here, etc. Whatever they think. Like I don't agree with that mentality. It's like, it's
Well,
kind of
and
like using
and
us
we're
temporarily.
weird.
Well,
That's
I
true.
think a lot of that comes from too. Like, if you look at our founding fathers, they came from rich aristocrats. They
Mhm.
mostly spoke French. They didn't speak English. English was a peasant language. If you went to England, I mean, the aristocrats there, the royalty, they spoke French. They didn't speak English.
Right.
That was
I think
the
they were
peasants
French most
spoke.
of the time.
So
Yeah.
English was always seen as this peasants' language until the late 1800s with the standardization of the printing press and such.
True. So for me, it's not a fascination or a love of the English language per se. It's that for whatever reason, it's essentially become the most predominant language in the world. Maybe except for
It's
Mandarin.
most expressive. You can
Yeah.
articulate more with English than you can. So if you learn other languages, they're very basic. So when you say sentences, you don't have all this articulation.
Mhm.
It's just a very basic statements you say.
So really, I don't know much about languages.
Like, I
Well,
know some
lots
Italian,
of
like
languages
Spanish.
have gender.
Yeah,
Like
they're
a
very
yeah,
feminine and masculine.
That's
saying.
always
random.
been strange to
Yeah.
me. Like, why is there a feminine and masculine to various things? It's
What
so
if you're
weird.
saying things
Yeah,
in a
that is
soft way,
confusing.
Yeah.
kind of like a manly way? I'm saying it in a manly way, or I'm saying it in a soft, feminine way.
Does
Yeah,
that
it's
have?
like the O is for the man, and then the A
Yeah.
is for female usually.
Or E in Spanish. It's like E for the.
Does that have social implications? Do they Are they more likely, these places, are they more likely to be chauvinistic or to be rigid in their views of men and women?
I think it's more like show expression, more like your
Okay.
emotions
think
into
so.
your how you talk. That's why I think they call them the romance languages, because there's more emotion into that when you speak it.
So it's
And
more
that's
creative. It's
what has
It-
that that feminine or masculine. When you, I mean, it's two versions of the same
It
thing. But
seems
if
to
one
be more
says-
European countries. I mean, French is one of those languages. German is one of those languages.
German, not so much.
I think
French.
a dog is a male, even if it's a female dog or something. It's like that. So if you want to I could be getting this mixed up the other way around, but if you want to specifically say a female dog, you say a male female dog, whereas dogs in general would be male. And
strange.
It is like that.
They're a lot more
Random
primitive.
nouns. Yeah, random nouns are different genders. A spoon might be a male. A fork might be a male. You know, it's just weird.
So is it always the case, or you differentiate? There's a female spoon and a male spoon, or is it always like a male spoon?
Depending on the noun, it always is a specific gender.
Huh? That is so
It's always
weird.
if spoons are male, they're always male.
That's
Okay.
funny.
Like some languages are almost like they're like you ask questions backward almost. Like when I was trying to read it, like because I'd translate, I'm like, what the fuck? It like writes it backward, like.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, well, in some languages like Arabic, any of your languages that started with handed like chiseled in the stone, you wrote from the left, or I mean from the right to the left, because when you
Uh-huh.
chisel, how your hands were, so you could actually read, watch where you're placing the chisel. You'd have to use your right hand, so therefore you had to see how you're writing. So those languages developed going from reading right to left, and then you have other languages with pen and paper development, which are left to right.
Damn. I don't think I could read right to left. That would fuck my brain up.
Yeah, I was getting dyslexic there just trying to say it.
I always found that Bahasa Malay, Bahasa Indonesia, actually, there's more people speaking Indonesia. Just call it Bahasa, makes more sense than English. If you want to say to a person, "Where are you going?" your first word is "where," and if a tiger eats you know, you've only got that one word, "where." But in Malay, it's backwards. You are going where. So it's like, oh, this is about you. Straight away you can guess it's going to be where, but it seems to put more importance on the more important words. But I mean, that's just the way I see it. But
Yeah,
Malay is definitely one of those backwards languages you're talking about.
That's interesting. I haven't thought about it like that. In a
I
way,
noticed
that
a lot of
does make more
details.
sense.
I mean, you say
Hey, kitty.
where, you might be talking about the cat, you might be talking about where's your car keys, but if it's straight away you, cow, mana, cow is you, pergi is going, and mana is where. So it's like straight away you know it's about you, and you can probably justify it and say where are you going, but you know it's about you. I don't know.
It makes sense, although that would be a very limited case, like where you're about to die in mid sentence. So to me, what's more important is like how human minds work, and we know that like toward the end is what people tend to remember the most. It makes sense. It's the last thing you said. So I would think that, and I don't know if this is the case. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but like it seems like the most important should be near the end, because it's more likely that you'll remember the important part.
That's also true. Yeah. Okay. Yep. No, come on. My example was pretty stupid, so it's fine. It's just the way I what's the word? You see, now I'm trying to think. I'm thinking in Malay now, and I can't think of the English word. It's fucking annoying.
I could see that happening.
Okay,
Yeah,
another
language,
good
I
reason to
find
learn
very
the
interesting.
language where you are, like Trop is saying, police. You do not want to get caught by the police and not know the language.
Right.
Straight away, you're a target.
Well, sometimes
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
try to use that to their advantage. I've had that happen here. Not everybody does this, to be fair, but they'll try to, like, they know more than they claim, and they'll use no habla inglés as a get out of jail free card, or at least they think that's what it is. And I've had that happen so many times. I would say only immoral people would pull that, but it does happen.
Where are you talking about, Trobs? Like that this happens.
Specifically, I'm talking about where I live. I'm kind of surrounded by a lot of Hispanic people, and to be fair, most of them are good, but it only takes a couple of shitholes to fucking ruin everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if they're being dicks and you try to talk to them, they're like, oh no habla inglés.
Or if I actually need to deal with something, like I give them the benefit of the doubt. Like for instance, with the loud music shit, I'm like, I try to explain to them that like or at least I try to look at it from their point of view. Maybe in their culture, that's so normal that it's not even considered disrespectful. So my first instinct is to explain to them, in this culture, that is considered disrespectful.
Yes,
But then they go, oh, no habla inglés. And I can tell by the way they say it that it's bullshit.
that
They
they're
just,
bullshitting you.
exactly. And it makes me
Well-
fucking mad.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
they see this shit in movies and stuff too. So they're probably younger guys too, and so
They
see shit in
usually, yes.
movies,
Yes.
and so they think they imitate art.
They know that their music is too loud. They understand this culture whenever they come here that it's too
But
loud.
well, no,
Because
I
whenever
did this
they
shit when
get
I was a kid, teenager. We rolled around with
into an
cars
apartment, they're
systems.
told that expressly that there's a
Oh,
noise ordinance. They
Right.
should
what?
know
Yeah, we
that.
didn't. Do you think we cared with our cars with the big old freaking rice cannons on the back and the
Now
fans
that
pounding?
is true. In fact, my brother was one of those, and there is an element of that. However, it's different. I don't want to say yes. Younger Hispanic people are more likely to do it than the older ones, but there's a subgroup of older people that also love it, and like the older people will have parties all the time and blast like that mariachi music that always sounds exactly the same to me.
But
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of that older
As long as
demographic,
they're
right?
far
That
away from
about
me, I'm okay with it.
that never grow up. They're like
If-
eternal children.
Well, I don't know. I think that it's just a different way of expressing them. Maybe it's that's all they have for fun. Maybe it's there's
Well,
a
you
lot
gotta
of possibilities.
A lack of education. I'm sure many of them they came here for a better,
Right.
outcome because they didn't have very good outcomes where they were at,
I could see that. Yeah.
and so they're very limited by their understanding. So they're probably very Catholic, and they think what they're doing is acceptable because that's where they came from.
Right.
Nobody really enforced laws. I mean,
Yes. Well, also, it may not be a law where they come from because it's very common. It's like a normal cultural thing to them.
hmm
So I try to look at it from that point of view, but I can't make myself just go, oh, I don't care. Like it fucking bothers me. I'm a peaceful person. I like to be able to think. And part of this is ADHD. I can't think when there's my walls are vibrating. I can't.
Oh
It's
my
not
God.
I get
possible.
that. I was
Yeah,
gonna say maybe
I'm
get yourself a little
Trumps.
waterfall, but
I am the same way. And if you want to piss me the fuck off, you do it through sound.
Yep.
So I will give it a minute. So I'll give one chance, I'll give two chances, I'll give three chances. And then on the fourth, whenever they're making noise, if they start again, I go outside and I'm just like, turn that shit off or I'm coming over there.
well, Melody, you could easily just get your tits out and then they'd just stop and they'd be, just.
Fuck you, Godwin. No, I'll get rancid with people. I've gotten in so much trouble. Like with, I mean, I have not in quite a
No,
while.
Melody has a big
but-
mouth. No, you're lying.
What are you lying about? What about
I know.
about putting my tits out or what are you talking about?
What do you want to do?
What are you talking about? Like, what did I
Oh.
do? No, I'm talking about like my neighbors and telling them to shut the
I
fuck
know.
up.
I know you're mouthy. I know.
Oh no, I have.
Very
I've,
outspoken. There we go.
I'm
You're very
not at first, and I'm not that impulsive. However, my brain changes completely when I am very patient. I don't get angry easily. For whatever reason, sounds are the exception. My brain shuts off and I become a fucking serial killer. Like
same.
It like instantly, like all logic is gone. I'm fucking pissed.
I
When
am
I'm
triggered
hungry
like hard fucking
tired.
core by sounds. Like that will fucking set me off to the bone.
For me, it's really disrespect. I'm very respectful. I call people sir, ma'am. I'm
Right.
very thank you. And then you get some of these little punks that are just disrespectful assholes. I just want to punch them in the fucking face.
Right.
That's what gets me.
I feel you. For that, it
Especially-
doesn't bother me as much, but it makes sense.
It's worse because at that age, when they're young, one of the first things they'll tell their own friends, it's like, you have to earn my respect. I've heard this throughout my life, and it really fucking annoys me.
Yeah, well, I agree. I agree with what they're saying. The problem is that they don't abide by their own shit. That's
Exactly.
the issue. They're hypocrites.
Yeah.
But I do agree that you should earn respect and no one should just get it automatically. And I apply that to even the common respect your elders. I do not give anyone a default respect. No default.
I give it default respect. There's a medium level of respect that I will give to everyone and anything. And you can lose or you can gain from there. That's the way I work it.
That's basically the same as me. So my default respect is just if I know nothing about you, right? I have no history with you. I don't know anything about you. Right, yes. That's how I am. But also I don't forget shit. I have a bad memory, but when it comes to people, I remember everything. Their facial expressions, everything. And if they're fucking shitty toward me, I'll remember that forever. And I'm not.
Every slight they've ever done to you, I remember. That's why I hate my sister.
It's funny, Brandon.
Oh no!
The other week, I actually got pissed. Finally, this girl, I would just take a piece of wood up there for her to cut up and just throw down this hole, and it goes into this big shredder. But it took her like 2 seconds to do. No, she made this little fuss, come stomping across the floor, threw it in the fucking dumpster, and acted all prissy. And I just fucking got mad. I grabbed a skid with my one hand, slammed it on a fucking cart. Fucking, I was like, I'm sick of these motherfuckers being assholes for no fucking good reason. I'm being condescending. And then I walked up, I did the fucking arm cock thing and fucking pounded the shit out of the fucking belt, and fucking everybody just stopped and looked at me. It's like, yeah, I'm fucking mad. Next day, man, all my bosses came walking by. Hey, how you doing? You good? I'm like, yes, sir. How you doing? Good morning, sir. You know, just chipper as could be, and like nothing happened.
I'm that way about work as well because I have pretty strong convictions about work. And I feel that you shouldn't, as a leader especially, you shouldn't tell people to do shit that you're not willing to do.
Yep.
But oftentimes it happens in reverse. They expect you to do everything, and like you ask them to do it, and you always do it, and they're like, nah. And I'm like, that's not how this shit works, dude. like, do I need to make an example of you? And I don't feel bad about that because I do what I ask them to do. It would be different if I was one of those fucking assholes that keep their arms crossed all the time and just fucking tell people you need to work harder while doing nothing. That's a whole different thing.
It was funny because the one girl, she knew I was talking about her because my boss, he came walking over. I was like, I'm sick of Savannah being a fucking bitch. I just went off. I mean, I said it pretty loud. Well, the next day, she's like, hey, how you doing? And everything, like making sure everything's clear. Like, so, I want like acting like, oh, you saw me mad over there. It wasn't because you something over here. And like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you can't call somebody a fucking bitch. That's not good. But you know what? I've said some things that are horrible with like 15 people on the fucking email, and I've been a fucking cunt. And I've gotten myself in so much trouble. And
That's what she was doing. I put up with it for about 3 fucking weeks because I went from night shift to day shift. And these day shift motherfuckers are all cocky with their chests pumped out like they're something fucking special. And I should have. You don't want to piss me off. I'm the nicest guy in the fucking world, but when you get on my bad side, I could be your worst fucking enemy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you have to show that because the nice guys, and I'm typically that way at first, at least, like people mistake that for weakness. And if you don't show them that you have boundaries, they'll fucking run all over you.
And that's what I mean. I was getting that from a lot of the older heads too, that I was pissed off. So when I yelled out, I'm sick of the fucking people being assholes for no fucking good reason. They all fucking heard it around me. Like it was loud. And then when I hit that fucking belt, it fucking rang. So
I used to love
know.
It. When I finally became a senior working offshore, I used to love it that head office would start listening to me when I said, okay, this fucker, I do not want him here, send him home. And they would do it. Now, I loved that. Eventually, after 10 years of putting up with these assholes, you actually got the power to, if you're not going to do the work, you leave. You're not, I'm not going to be your boss. I'm not going to be your supervisor. I'm not going to teach you anything if you don't do what I tell you. And I loved it when it got to the point where, yep, dude, you're off. Enough. Get out.
Yeah.
And
we get
chop up some the next day.
I could
like
see
these
that.
kids nowadays, they want to sit there on their phones instead of working. So like you get a little bit of downtime, clean up, red up your area, do some shit that actually do work. No, they want to pull
You're
their
paid to
phones out.
be here. Yeah.
Yep. I actually
me,
have a
I'm-
rule that my family gets pissed at me over. I don't talk on the phone at work, period. Now, some of that is because I feel like it's unprofessional, and some of that's specific to me because I have ADHD. I can't work and talk to someone. But like, it's a rule, and they're like, dude, I don't understand. And I'm like, dude, what do? You talk on the fucking phone all day while you're working? Because even if you
No.
don't have ADHD, you're less efficient. There's no way around it.
I
Like,
don't even
Yep.
have a phone. I don't even carry one to this day yet.
Are you talking about like during your breaks and stuff?
No, I have
A
a
break-
phone 0. I don't even have one that's mine.
I mean, like okay, like obviously you don't talk. I mean, I have to talk on the phone for my job,
well, that's different.
but yeah,
Yes.
I know and I understand. But I was wondering, like, if you're talking about like whenever you're like on a break or something like
No,
that.
no. Anytime that I consider myself, we don't actually have a clock, but on the clock, if I'm working and I'm not on break, I will not use the phone.
I
Well,
try to conversate with people,
that,
but most
but
of them
you
are on
might
their
get in
phone.
trouble for that shit if your boss like sees you like talking on the phone whenever you're supposed to be working. Then
Again,
that's not good.
Well, I agree. That's why I have that rule. I don't talk on the phone, period.
Yeah, no, I sure as hell
But
wouldn't
but
either.
it's not about getting in trouble. That's a rule of my own because that's just wrong to me. Like, it's weird because one part of me believes that we have a system set up to where everybody basically gets fucked, and it's set up that way because we don't get paid what we should, so that it can all funnel to the 1% that own the fucking corporations and shit. But at the
Shareholders.
same time, I feel like I made basically a contract with these people, and I agreed to the terms. And at the very least, I'm going to be working at the times that I'm supposed to be working. Like, I'm not going to be fucking around and damn sharing memes with people on fucking Facebook. Like,
I
Well,
don't
and
even have
also
Or a
Facebook.
better
you
reason.
pretty much
There's a better reason. What
Yeah.
you go if you're doing a physical job, I have lost so many phones just bringing it with me. Not using it, bring it with me, and it drops into a bucket of oily water, or it drops into a vat of chemicals, and it's like, oh shit! And I stopped buying expensive phones. I bought the cheapest Motorola I could find, and
Mhm.
because I still have to answer if my boss calls me. But
Mhm.
it's a good reason not to use your phone if your job is physical.
That's true. And to be fair, different jobs are different and they all change. So some people literally like have a security job where their entire job is just sitting there for long periods of time. Don't fucking think I wouldn't be on the phone or doing some shit then, because that would drive
Yeah,
me
that's
crazy.
Well, I
But
fall
yeah.
asleep.
exact, I couldn't do it. But like, my point is, if you have a specific, like, I guess what Rash said, a physical job is a way of putting it, and it's not like you have so much work to do and you have 8 hours to do it. Like, it really depends on what you do.
I have a
But-
very physical job, so I'm always just. They call me hyper because I'm just literally bouncing off the fucking walls in there.
I enjoy it. Like, it makes time move faster, and you end up having endorphins rushing because you're moving
Mhm.
quickly, and it just makes you feel good.
And I'm always trying to cheer people up, like joking with them, saying things that make them laugh. And it also it brings everybody else's moods up, and then everybody else works harder and more. There's no tension. It gets rid of that
yeah.
bullshit.
My last role, it was physical and I loved it. It was fun.
Oh, I walk. Well, therefore lately I've been getting rides, but I usually walk home from work. But I walk the dogs. I walk them each one at a time, and I've been getting the run, and I'm getting back into good shape now.
Oh yeah. Well,
Did you
Oh, I
guys,
was talking about work. Never mind.
I believe it's
Well, yeah,
that
I'm walking
time.
home.
Oh, podcasts. Yeah, I do love podcasts, but yeah.
Told you if we get talking, he'll go longer.
Of course, I always do. In fact, I don't think I've ever, not once, have I ever stopped when I said I would. I can't help it. Like, my attention goes all over the place, and then you guys start talking about shit, and it's interesting, and that's how it always happens. But
It's a
I
good
do-
reunion.
I do have to
Unless-
roll,
unless you gotta
yeah, it
go
has
work.
been a while. What?
Are you going to work, or are you? Come on, if you're not going to work, then
I'm
hang around
off.
for a while, man.
I'm off work today, but that's not the limit of my responsibilities.
Yeah, he gets to get on Baldur's Gate and shake his penis around.
This time, that's not the case. But sometimes I'll be honest, and I'll tell you when that's the case. I'm like, I'm addicted, so guys, I'm going to play the game.
Yep, I knew you were gonna be
Baldur's
gone.
Gate.
I was bad.
That one's like crack there. That's one hit and you're done.
Alrighty.
But
Master
anyhow,
something.
I'll
Okay,
be back
my bad.
next week, most likely.
Okay.
So it was fun. It's been a while. You guys take it easy.
All right.
Till
Thanks,
next time.
Rob. Bye.
All right. See you later.
Bye.